All right, so before we get into all the changes with Nell Rin and what's been updated, I've got an important announcement for you all. Now, it's been a day since the update dropped with Nell Nagi, and I'm guessing most of you have already had a chance to test him out, pull him, or at least give him a spin, right? And even if you didn't pull him, like I said in my last video, don't panic. One of the main devs actually promised that in the next event, we'll be getting a ton of lucky spins. This is huge because it's making me think that the next update is likely going to be tied to the McNagi event. For those of you who played during the Easter Kaiser event, you'll probably remember how many lucky spins we got then. I don't recall the exact number, but I know it was somewhere around 20 to 30 spins, and if you included the codes, it felt like we were getting nearly 50 spins, maybe even more. It was definitely a generous amount. Now, with the McNagi event just around the corner, I'm really hopeful that we're going to get another batch of spins like that, giving everyone another shot at pulling not just Neil Nagy, but maybe some other world-class characters as well, including Nell Ren. And that's exactly what we're talking about today, so let's dive right in. But before we get into all that, though, make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you're not already, and please let me know in the comments, how are you feeling about Nell Rin and Don Lorenzo after the updates? I'm really curious to hear your thoughts, so let's chat about it after you finish watching. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, let's jump into the heart of today's video, NEL Rin. So, we all know by now that he's received some changes, and while they might not be huge, they're definitely important. Let's be real, it's not just about the little things like his new animations for his awakening. Those are cool and all, but there's also something a bit more significant. They've removed his curve shot from his base moveset and made it exclusive to his awakening. And to be honest, this has left a lot of people a little surprised. You'd think that a core mechanic like his curve shot would be available from the start, but instead they've decided to move it to his awakening. That's definitely a bit shocking for a lot of people. Now, before I continue, let me just quickly clarify something. This video isn't just about Nell Rin, I'm also going to touch on Don Lorenzo, who got some pretty significant buffs in this update. I know some of you are interested in hearing more about that too, so don't worry, I've got you covered. But let's start with Nell Rin, since I know that's what a lot of you came for. So, as you've probably already seen, Nell Rin's gotten these new animation details, right? Honestly, this should have been included from the beginning when he first got his rework, but for whatever reason, they decided to release him a bit unfinished. And I remember when the community saw those animations for the first time, there was a pretty clear consensus that Rin was raw. People were saying that his animations just weren't polished, and I agree with that. There was something off about them. I'm not trying to say the guy's bad or anything, he's not. But the truth is, a lot of us felt like he was a little bit rushed. For example, that domain move, I'm pretty sure we can all agree it was nerfed just before the update. I swear, like 5 to 6 hours before the update dropped, they decided to add the domain move to his kit. And if you remember, in the test server, he had a completely different move. Something related to his dash or dribbling. But then suddenly, bam, the domain move was slapped in there. That's when I knew something wasn't quite ready yet. It felt like the devs were scrambling a bit, and looking at the awakening animations, I could tell that they weren't fully polished. Now, don't get me wrong, NL Rin is still powerful. There's no doubt about that. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. When he was first released, he was definitely raw. I was checking the official Discord after the update, and man, there were tons of comments from people saying he was too overpowered, too unfinished, and honestly just not quite there yet. And once again, these weren't just my opinions, it was something that the community pretty much agreed on. I'm not hating on Nell Rin, he's still a strong character, but that's just the reality of the situation. He wasn't finished when he first came out. But now, a couple of months have passed, and we're finally seeing these new animations added. Are they perfect? Not yet. I think they've made a big difference, but there's still more to do. The awakening animations are better, no doubt, but I still think Nell Rin needs a full rework on his animations. Not just for his awakening, but for his awakened moves too. They're good, but they could be so much better. And here's the thing, they added subtitles, which is a nice touch. But for some reason, I still haven't seen them in game. It's weird, right? It's like they're still having some issues with bugs. It's not a huge deal, but it's something worth mentioning. Now let's talk about that curve shot. That's his core mechanic, the one move that's really iconic for him. And as I said earlier, they decided to remove it from his base moveset and give it only to his awakening. That's a huge change, and it honestly doesn't sit well with me. I think the curve shot should have stayed in his base moveset. They could have kept it, just made it a bit stronger and faster. It was always such a satisfying move to use, especially with that nice sound it made. I don't understand why they decided to take it out. Look, I think the devs should just bring that curve shot back to his base, make it stronger, and maybe tweak it a little to make it fit better with his new awakening. The move always felt so signature to Rin, and it would be a shame if they didn't restore that feeling in some form. Alright, now let's switch gears for a second and talk about Don Lorenzo. He also got some much-needed buffs in this update. One of the major changes is his off-ball zombie dash windup. It used to take 0.9 seconds, but now it's down to just 0.2 seconds. That's a big improvement, especially for someone like him who's often in a defensive role. This change just makes sense. It feels like they've really figured out how to make him more effective in defense, which is exactly what I've always felt he needed. They also made a few other adjustments, like increasing the cooldown for his golden defense from 30 seconds to 35 seconds. Honestly, I'm not sure if that's a good change or not, so I think we should give it some time and see how players feel about it. If it doesn't sit well with the community, I'm sure the devs will tweak it back. But overall, I'm happy with the changes. They've made him more balanced, and I think it'll make him more fun to play with. One more change I want to highlight is his zombie dribble. The cooldown for that was reduced from 50 seconds to 45 seconds. That makes him feel a lot more agile, and I think we're going to see him used more often in matches now. Also, I've noticed a lot more players using NEL Isagi lately. I checked the official patch notes, and there's no mention of any buff to NEL Isagi, so I'm curious. Do you guys think he's been buffed? Or is it just that there's more variety in world-class characters now because of the lucky spins we got? If you're an NEL Isagi main, let me know if you've noticed any changes in his performance. So there you have it, NEL Rin's changes, Don Lorenzo's buffs, and the overall update impact. This update has definitely sparked a lot of discussions, and it feels like it's really brought something fresh to the game. I know there's still a lot of room for improvement, especially with characters like Nell Ren who have some raw animations and mechanics that could use a bit more polishing. But I'm optimistic. The devs are listening to the community, and as we saw with Nell Nagi, they're making the right moves to make the game feel more balanced and rewarding. But what do you think? Nell Ren is a tough one. Do you think he needs more work on his animations or his overall moveset? I know some people might say he's fine as he is, especially since he's still a powerful character in the game, but I can't help but feel that with a little more attention, he could be one of the best characters out there. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments about what should be done to make Nell Ren feel more complete. Do you agree that his curve shot needs to come back, or do you think the change was necessary? Maybe you're in the camp that thinks the devs should just leave him as is. Honestly, it's a tough one to call. Now, I know there's a lot coming up in the game, so I'll definitely be making more videos to keep you in the loop. There's always something new happening, and I want to make sure you're all ready for the next big event, whether it's the McNagi event or whatever else comes next. So, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and make sure to turn on the notifications so you don't miss out on anything. I've got some exciting content coming your way that you definitely don't want to miss. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay tuned, keep grinding in Blue Lock Rivals, and as always, let me know what you think in the comments. I can't wait to hear from you all.